And we're back and ready to rip here on the Imperative MX podcast, episode number 2. And man, we're glad to be back, bringing you all of the local motocross action from North Carolina, Virginia, and the surrounding states. Thank you so much for joining us this week. I am your host, Zach Newberry, and we would like to thank each and every person that enjoyed the first episode, and the great positive feedback from just that first episode was absolutely amazing to see from the local community in the sport of motocross. We have a lot to talk about when it comes to local racing all the way to professional racing. But in this episode, it will be a little bit more on the local side and for good measure, so make sure to stick around all the way until the end. There are a good amount of talking points to chat about in this episode, from Kathy's Creek, brand new local legend segment, RMZ 450, Lake Sugartree 20th Annual Halloween Bash, the Silver Valley MX Park AB $20,000 race that is coming up at the beginning of November, answering your questions that were submitted via our social media accounts, local weekend racing schedule, which is new as well, straight rhythm and WSX for the professional side towards the later part of this pod, and much, much more. Make sure to check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and all of our popular social media accounts, especially our TikTok channel. We just hit 21,000 followers on there, and it is amazing to see the progress and the fan interaction on all of our social media platforms. And all of the links to our social media platforms will be in the description down below. This is going to be a whole lot of fun here on episode 2 of the Imperative MX podcast. But before we go any further, we have to say thank you to all of the sponsors that are on board here on the Imperative MX podcast. West Virginia Motorsports, FXR, Silver Valley MX Park, and Hydropower. Make sure to support the ones that support the sport. Just like all of these sponsors are on board with this podcast, bringing you the local motocross talk each week. Helping me break down all of the talking points for tonight's podcast, the highly likable, hilarious, and knowledgeable co-host TJ Gillespie, or also known as Heavy D.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There we go. What's going on?
What's
going on?
What's going on, partner? How we doing?
Living the life, living the moto dream, chatting it up and keeping it local.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's exactly what we do here on the Imperative MX podcast, and great to have you back for this episode number 2. We have quite a lot of talking points to get through this one, a lot of local talk, so this one's going to hit us straight in the heart, Heavy D.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited. I've been waiting for this one all week long.
Yes, sir. And the weekend, we will talk about straight rhythm and WSX on the professional side. But like we said, we want to keep it local. And the first talking point that we have here, Heavy D, is Kathy's Creek. And you wanted to talk about this topic just a little bit, so I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, dude. We. And like you were saying, we're just trying to, keep it local and talk about some awesome local racing. And, Caddy's Creek is one of those tracks, and it's one we encourage people to come out and do, the Carolina Outlaw Series. It's been around for about 5-6 years now, maybe a little longer. My math could be off, but man, it's a growing series and everybody is loving it, and we're just trying to encourage people to come out, get more local with us, I mean, Caddy's Creek is probably as local gets, dude, and it's awesome, dude. I mean, the atmosphere is awesome. All our supporters are awesome. Like, you couldn't ask for anything better. So, I mean, like I say, no shots fired to anybody else, but Caddy's Creek is awesome. And this past weekend we had a good race, some real good racing. Also, before we go any further with that, gotta give a shout out to Garrett Bullis. He was a rider who had a pretty intense crash at Caddy's Creek, and we just want to send our thoughts and prayers to him and his family, and hope he heals and recovers quickly and gets back out there. But
Absolutely.
like I say, Caddy's Creek is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you talked about in the very beginning, speaking about Cathy's Creek, we all start somewhere. And for people down where you are from in the lower part of North Carolina, a lot of people go to Cathy's Creek. And for me, up top here in the North Carolina area was East Bend for me. So East Bend really hits home to me. And Cathy's Creek down there where you are at, the Outlaw Series, even though that it is an Outlaw Series, it's good to get some gate drops, huh, Heavy D?
Oh, absolutely, man. We've had some top guys come through Caddy's Creek. Shane McElrath, he's ridden Caddy's Creek, and several others. Even our series, like with 221. I mean, don't get me wrong, Caddy's Creek is the home track of the Carolina Outlaw Series, but we have some other great tracks, and we've had top guys come out and ride them like Chad Reed, Cooper Webb. Once again, I'm pretty sure George Smith did back in the day. Hell, heck, he even rode East Bend.
Right.
I mean, I've turned a lot of laps at East Bend, and so is he. So we've had some pretty bad dudes in the industry come out and shred the local scenery over at Caddy's Creek. So we just want to keep it going, get more people out, beginners, even if you're faster, man. We all try to do a fantastic job of keeping the track up, and providing good dirt, safe jumps, and just an all around good atmosphere. So we encourage everybody to come on out. Like, come on, keep
Yeah,
local racing alive.
absolutely. Keeping the local scene alive is what pays these top professional riders, and we love to watch them on TV, and we also love to ride motocross, our dirt bikes on the weekends. And without our support from the sponsors that we have here on the podcast and at the tracks, the vendors, all of the small people, the mechanic that puts on the tire for you because you don't want to break your knuckles, you throw them $25 or whatever the case may be, right? All of these people are here to support the sport and to support you. So even though that these Outlaw series may not be your favorite track, it may not have the top, the top competition that you're looking for, but if there's nothing going on a weekend and you want to just get some gate drops, then I don't see a big problem going to these Outlaw series for just some gate drops, Heavy D.
Oh no, me either. I mean, like I always say, like you will always find, no matter how you look at it, competition at a local series or a local race. Just because, like I say, no shots fired at anybody, but some of those kids may not be national level. But dude, at that track, you
They are
have local
local
kids.
legends at
They
those
will
tracks.
work you absolutely.
I've seen
And
top
for,
professionals go to East Bend and get worked by the local legend at East Bend. His name's Brent East, and I have seen it multiple times. Jacob Hayes has showed up, and multiple other top professionals, and Brent East works them. So
oh, dude, Grennies is another story, man. Like I say, God rest his soul, Cody Gregg. But I remember going to City back in the day, and dude, I've watched Brent East flat out work them,
yep.
to work them over. But like I say, hey, you have those local legends, and he's one of them. I mean, hey, you never know.
Absolutely, absolutely. And before we move into a little bit more local, myself riding the Suzuki RMZ 450 2023, have to give a huge shout out to West Virginia Motorsports. That is where I bought my Suzuki RMZ 450 2023, and I couldn't be happier with the purchase from everybody down there in Princeton, West Virginia. If you are around the surrounding areas, looking for a new or pre-owned motorcycle, dirt bike, ATV, UTV, whatever, engine, bike, side by side, whatever you need, make sure to stop by. Don't forget to order your parts for your current bike through West Virginia Motorsports, or alongside walking out the door with that new ride. Don't forget to get some filters on your way out. But yeah, moving into the Suzuki RMZ 450 test ride and review, Imperative MX on YouTube. I did a whole review of everything about the RMZ 450 from my opinion. And I also got a second opinion. Sawyer Beck, who is a local B class rider from Virginia, which actually he lives in Forest, Virginia, which is about 45 minutes away from me. I let him hop on the bike, and he had nothing bad to say. Now, moving towards that, a lot of people love to give Suzuki a lot of hate. I even had Jaden Vieira, who does JV Films. I had him actually ride the motorcycle as well. and all around good motorcycle, great price. You get a full Yoshimura RS12 exhaust system and an RM Army graphics kit for $899 out the door. And yeah, I can't really say anything bad about the actual motorcycle, Heavy D. It's good to be back on yellow.
Man, like you say, a lot of people throw so much shade at the Suzuki, and I honestly, like me personally, I think it is a sick bike. I mean, I could care less about an electric start or anything like that. Like, just because, I mean, don't get me wrong, the electric start's nice, but like, if you look at it in like higher competition levels, like per motocross, supercross, like, dude, like that can be the deciding factor of whether or not you win a championship, and that may be reaching a little bit, but you know, if you out there racing, that battery goes dead, you're screwed.
Right.
Like if it don't turn over, you can't kick it. So me personally, I like the Suzuki. Honestly, I think it's probably one of the most neutral bikes out there. It don't have ass ton of power, excuse my French, but it's still a strong bike. It handles great, and I honestly I like it, dude. I don't think anything's wrong with it because I don't think you need a crazy amount of power,
Yeah.
especially in a 50.
Yeah, on a I mean, these bikes are so fast now with their torque and the mapping that you can do, the ECU settings, and there's so much complexity within these dirt bikes nowadays that you can get any bike and you can set it up for yourself and you would be perfectly fine. No matter if it's a Husqvarna, a Gas, a Cowie, a Suzuki, a Honda. Every bike is going to fit somebody different, and it's a personal opinion. I believe dirt bikes have now come to the point to where it's almost a personal preference, unless you're a professional athlete, the top 1%, and you get hit up by HRC Honda like Colt Nichols did.
Oh, oh, absolutely. And like, I've ridden a good amount of the bikes, and I mean several years ago, but like me personally, I like the Suzuki. Like I rode Yamahas for the majority of the time I rode,
Right.
basically about all the time I rode. And I liked it, even when they went to the reverse engine, the ones that a bunch of the pro guys didn't like, I liked it still. But me personally, I think the reason I liked it so much is because I'm a bigger guy.
Right.
So like it was like I was just basically riding my weight or carrying around my weight. And I was just like trying to throw it around. And I liked it, Even I rode a Suzuki. I liked it. And it like I say, it was the most neutral bike. I
Yep.
could corner it good. I could jump it fine. The power was awesome. I mean, for me personally, like it wasn't like the KTM. Like I'm not throwing shade at it, but a KTM has a steel frame, so of course, like the smaller guys and lighter guys, they like it because for them it kind of settles in corners just right because a steel frame flexes.
Right.
Where for me, it flexed a little too much.
Right. Because
But
because of the weight issue.
yeah, the weight issue, and I don't really like them as much.
Right.
But the Suzuki, I think, I always thought was an all around neutral bike. It's one you can. I feel like anybody could hop on and still be competitive, no matter how you look at it. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and so I traded in my 2020 Yamaha 450 for this 2023 Suzuki. People on TikTok and a lot of people were throwing shade at me saying that the bike is terrible, and I did a full 13-minute review even with, Sawyer Beck, local top B rider. Didn't do anything to it. It was in my setting, which the only thing that I did was set the sag, which was 110 for a race setting because I'm a little bit bulkier guy and I like to really charge. So set the sag to 110, do 3 to 4 clickers on the front springs to make them to make her harder and or stiffer, and that was it. That's the only thing. Oh, and I moved the brake lever, the rear brake lever, pedal. Moved that up, maybe I don't even know, maybe a quarter inch, half an inch at max, and that was it. That's the only thing I've done to the motorcycle, and I'm completely satisfied. I don't need to touch it no more. I'm sure I have graphics on the way, There will be handlebars, I'm sure, that will be in the foreseen future because, Heavy D, when I hit the ground, I don't like to just, lay on a pillow. I don't like to lay in a pillow. I hit the ground. When I hit the ground, I hit the ground for sure. So,
Oh, you just go for the full-fledged KO.
yeah, the full, if I'm in the air, I'm rolling the windows up. If I'm on the ground, I'm army crawling off the track. I mean, it's unbelievable. And every single time that I crash, I have to do a flip. Like I don't know why, I don't know how. I just fall on the ground, and instantly my body thinks that it should just continue rolling. So,
Dirt bike parkour with a twist of gymnastics.
absolutely, yeah, I can't really say anything else on that topic and myself falling. But before we get too far off topic, swinging it back to the Suzuki RMZ 450 here on the Imperative MX podcast, brought to you by West Virginia Motorsports, FXR, Silver Valley MX Park, and Hydropower. Realistically, this bike is not as bad as people say it is. I believe that the hate needs to stop, even though it never will. But um, you know, the automatic decompression system to make it kick easier. It's so easy. 1 to 2 kicks, no problem. Even when I'm out there on the track and it flipped halfway across Muddy Creek, the track when I crashed when I went up there to race at the Verb Moto Top Gun Showdown a couple weekends ago. The bike was a little mangled and had to straighten her out a little bit, but second kick she started right up. So I don't know. I've had problems where I've fallen over on my Yamaha before, and it takes seven to 8 clicks of the button for me to even have enough time to get it started. And then if it doesn't start within 5 or 6, it's like you're having to put the bike in neutral. You're losing more time. So, and then you can also want to take it even further to what you were talking about with championships. I mean, look at Sexton and Tomac. If Sexton's bike would have started before Tomac, Sexton would have gotten that, even though that he got the overall, he would have went 1-1. So, I don't really think that I think the no e-start is overrated. I think that is super overrated in my opinion.
Oh, 100%. And I think another thing is too, like you got a lot of like Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, KTM. You look at it, they're doing a lot of R&D. Like, but you got to look at the factors. Like they have these teams and all these guys that's like basically dealing with the manufacturer directly, so they're able to make the bike better. And honestly, I think if Suzuki wanted to, they could. But I mean, the bikes are so expensive right now, and I think for them it's just like, why do that and not sell the bikes? Because if you think about it, especially right now, the way things are going, you either got to have a Tomac, a Roxon, or you got to have a social media king or somebody with a high social media profile like Axel Hodges or Deegan that's racing to even sell the motorcycle and get it back to when Carmichael and Dungy and those guys were winning on it.
Right.
It's just so much more to it. And like, it's not a bad bike. I think Roxy can go hop on it. Not trying to get off subject right now. He could probably go Twisted T Suzuki and go win some races on it, hands down. I
Yeah.
honestly do believe that.
And you can't tell me that if a bike is inside the top 10, it doesn't matter what rider is on it, that bike is inside the top 10, you can't tell me that that motorcycle is bad.
Oh, absolutely. Like, even going back to like Sawyer riding, I watch videos of him, and I'm like I said, I wasn't there, but I seen the videos you posted, and me personally, I'm not just trying to be biased, but I thought he looked better on the Suzuki than he did his own Honda, just because his riding style, dude. It just like he didn't have. It was effortless. He looked a little bit more comfortable. He was more relaxed. He was more neutral with the bike. He wasn't having to dive into the corners as hard on the Suzuki like he does this Honda, because a Honda has a lower front rake, so you really got to get over the front of that bike to make it dive in the corner.
Right.
So if you watched him ride Suzuki, he would start to do that, but I guess he realized like, dang, I ain't really got to dig in that hard with this thing because it's actually going to corner pretty good. And dude, he put that thing where he wanted it.
Yeah,
And
no, he definitely put it to the test, and I tell you what, he rips at his home track, just like anybody at home track, right? But man, he's unbelievable at his home track, and it was awesome to have him ride the banana around.
oh,
The yellow motorcycle. It was cool to see, and his style, like you said, is just impeccable. Anywhere that he goes, Sugar Tree, Birch Creek, any of these local races that I see him at, he has the same riding style, same attitude. He's very spoken. He's a great dude. And yeah, no, it was really cool to have him ride the motorcycle to get that second opinion. I believe that's what I wanted for the video. Is I wanted somebody else that was a good rider, and I wanted somebody that has never rode the Suzuki 450 or even really a 250. He said that the last time that he rode one was on a 65. So,
dang.
yeah. So he is brand new into the Suzuki RM Army. So, but it's a great motorcycle. I think the E-Start conversation is overrated, and yeah, this motorcycle is perfectly fine for me. They pay a lot more at the local events than any other brand, and yeah, for me, I don't like to do very much to my bikes. I keep them all stock. My entire career, I've had all of my bikes stock instead of a slip-on muffler, unless you want to call that modified. But other than that, that has been pretty much my setup my entire life. So I don't need anything fancy. I don't do anything fancy to my motorcycles. So, you know, set the sag, do a couple of clicker adjustments, come off the couch, and go race.
I cannot say the same. I never have one stock bike. I mean, if anybody races with me, they probably know that. So
yeah, and hey, we got a nice question fan sent over the social media that we're gonna have to get into later. So that's gonna be good. It'll be later here in the Imperative MX podcast, episode number 2. And the next segment that we are going to get into is a brand new segment here on the Imperative MX podcast. It is the local legend segment. Now, this here hits home to both me and Heavy D. If you do not know what a local legend is a rider that is from the local North Carolina, Virginia area that is absolutely balls fast and just waxes everybody no matter where they go. So we have 2 examples for this one. We may do this on a regular. We may do an old one to bring back some old local legends, and then we have a new local legend. So we're going to have 2 on the local legend segment. One old,
yes,
one new. So, in this local legend segment, the 2 riders, the first one is going to be JT Josh Thomas.
Yes.
He is going to be the old one that we talk about. And the younger one will be Dawson Cobb, who races C-Class Double D. We are going to talk about him here in a minute. But those are the 2 riders that we're going to speak about, and we wanted to let you guys know what a local legend is and what makes them worthy of being talked about as a local legend. So, first, let's talk about Josh Thomas. Josh Thomas is a local North Carolina kid. He is a little shorter in stature. He is very skinny. If you were walking by him at the mall, you would have no idea that no matter what motorcycle he is on, that dirt bike is revved to the moon and it will be jumped as far as you want it to be. And he will win. Just about every single time.
Absolutely. Hands down.
Give me some Josh Thomas local legend moments in your opinion, Heavy D.
Okay, so I heard before I even started racing, I heard of Josh Thomas. I seen him. He come over to my buddy Garrett's track, which was formerly known as the old JGR track, and the dude was unreal. but I seen him. What was? You remember Zoo City? Do you remember Zoo City?
Yep.
The finish line, right there where everybody parked.
Yep. They had that triple, like Camelback
Y-
triple.
yes, dude. He would come over that and crank it so ridiculously hard. I would be like, what is going through this dude's head? Like, how is he this gnarly on a dirt bike? And how do you get that gnarly, that ridiculous sick on that triple?
And what's
What?
crazy is nowadays he most of the time, he doesn't ride very much, and if he does, he's kind of just hanging around and just jumping big jumps, right? But man, I remember as a kid, man, when we saw that toy hauler, that Heavy D, you said that you have that old toy hauler,
The tailgater, son,
the
still got it.
tailgater. If I
The
saw that thing,
tailgater.
I would have nightmares from when I was 12 years old, having to race this kid at Windy Hill, at Devil's Ridge, at all of these local District 29 races. If that
Mm-hmm.
117 Gator showed up, oh man, we all knew that we were not going to win. We were glad that we showed
Dude,
up, but we're not winning.
let me tell you how much of a legend I've always thought this guy was. His number plate is still in the toy hauler spot. And every race we went to in that thing, I would fist bump that thing, saluting my guy
Yeah,
before I went out on the track.
it's the local legend salute.
Yes, I was like, I had to, because he was gnarly, like, still is. Like, seeing him at straight rhythm, like, getting in, I'm like, okay, like, that's badass. Like, he's just a local legend. Like, don't even ride a dirt bike on a full regular basis like he used to back in the day, and he's at Red Bull Straight Rhythm on an RM 125 about to go shred. Like, that is so sick. That just lets you know, like, you don't have to go be a top guy or try to race your heart out and be like a Tomac. If you're just a local bad dude, you can go make it happen. You can, like, all right, I'm bad enough to where I can go race the Red Bull Straight Rhythm, no big deal.
Absolutely. And for you that do not know, Josh Thomas was invited to come out to Straight Rhythm under Moto Memes, who is a very big, popular social media content for posting very funny memes about professional supercross, motocross, MXGP, that sort of thing. So it is a great follow on Instagram, so make sure to go and check him out at Moto Memes. But Joshy Washy, who has been around the scene for a very long time. I believe that he is into music now, but he knows the owner of Moto Memes, and Moto Memes was looking to have a rider for their bike to take out the straight rhythm. So, Joshy Washy, I don't know what his actual name is. I just know him as Joshy Washy, dude.
I know.
Anyways, anyways, they all got hooked up and drove from Florida all the way to Straight Rhythm. Josh rode practice, did knack-knacks, jumped all the jumps, times were good. And when it came down to the qualifying, they had a motor issue that they were not able to resolve. So unfortunately, he was not able to make the quote night program or the final, right? Qualifying riders. So that was unfortunate not to be able to see him on TV, but that does not matter. Nobody other than a handful of people that know him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows how big of a local legend he is to the North Carolina motocross scene.
Oh, dude, and he's just one of many. We got so many of them. I could just name them off and not like they be never ending.
Yeah, and every week, like we said, on the local legend segment here on the Imperative MX podcast, we will have two riders, one old from what we remember when we were younger, and one that is new. And so we're going to transition from the old Josh Thomas, local legend, now to the new local legend for this first episode, Dawson Cobb. I do not know much about this kid. And Heavy D does. So I will let Heavy D take the reins on Dawson Cobb since he was the one that suggested that Double D, Mr. Cobb, should be on this first local legend segment.
Oh, dude, it was only fitting just because it's like, man, the kid. He don't get me wrong, he's soft spoken, but he is funny as hell.
Right.
But the kid can shred a dirt bike. Now, mind you, this is what 2022. He just hopped on a 125, a big bike on 125 last year, 2021. Didn't even try to qualify. The previous year, he was on 85s. He did, and got worked at areas and regionals. Like, he didn't make it.
Right.
Not to say he was like slow, but he just didn't make it. Like, just like anybody else. Just, it when you get to that, it's tough. It is tough.
Yeah, you're
But
telling me. You're telling me, Heavy D.
it is tough.
Yeah.
But dude, this year he came out the gate with a damn V10 Triton firing on all cylinders. Like, my man has went to every local race, the areas, regionals, and went to Loretta's and cleaned house, son. Talking about he brought two number one plates back to the Carolinas,
Yep.
NC, and went to Baja, gathered them up three more, and brought them back to the hometown of the Carolinas,
Let's go.
and went to the Verb Moto Top Gun Showdown.
Yep.
Brought more back to the house.
No.
Brought more back to the house. My man, he is getting all the chicken right now.
I was about to say, do we need to call his parents and ask for a bigger room? I think his room's getting full of number one plates.
Oh, and he just went to next level this past weekend and cleaned up. And you know what? I'm going out on the limb. He may have some more. I'm Double D is going to the Verb Classic this weekend, and he's getting more.
He's just more. Just keep racking him up. Just keep racking him up.
Look, he's taking the chicken, and he ain't even gonna leave no grease or sides. He ain't gonna leave nothing to fry it in. He's taking the deep fryer. He's taking the pots, pans, silverware. He gonna take the whole damn stove, son.
The only thing that's left is that hot sauce that's dripped all the way down to the very bottom of the box.
All he's gonna leave is a little drizzle. Double D is going to get it, and that is why I had to pick my guy for the local legend because, he don't get me wrong, he trains with Stu some, but last year he stopped training and went back to school. Like, my guy just said, you know what, I'm about to go kick it with the homies, try and get me a few little honey buns, and do my thing. And he got to training a little bit, but he put in that work, and my guy was grinding. I mean, I think you saw him at Top Gun Showdown, didn't you?
Yep, and that's what I was gonna say. The first time, I can't say the first time I heard his name. The first time I heard his name was when I was watching Loretta's this year. I do not pay much attention to the C class, but anytime the C class was up, I heard Dawson's name quite a bit on there. So I did, know of him a little bit. And then when we were at the Verb Top Gun Showdown, I was so focused on my Suzuki, trying to get that thing right and trying to figure out if I need to change anything, so on and so forth. And sure enough, I hear Ken Farrell just saying Dawson Cobb's name over and over and over again. And I'm going to tell you what, Heavy D, that was the first time ever, I'm legitimately saying this, and this is absolutely true. First time I've ever heard a kid's name over the loudspeaker so many times in C class that I actually had to go and watch this kid. And I mean, I only got to see him for 4 laps, right? He was in the lead early. He got the whole shot checked out from what I saw. He might have had to pass maybe 1 or 2 people on the first lap, but man, he's on it for sure. And from what you said, from him, transitioning up in bikes so fast and able to be at this top C class, spot, that's local legend. Credentials for me. That's what being a local legend is someone that just comes out and just absolutely waxes everybody, and there's nothing that nobody can do about it.
Oh, dude, 100%. Like, he went to Loretta's. He failed, still came back and got second. If he'd had one more lap to go, he probably would have won that moto. Not even going to lie to you about that. I really feel like he would have.
Yep.
But, I mean, dude, it's a local legend. And when you watch the kid ride, he's no goon. He throws down. Like, his sauce level is real high. As Gucci said, if you ain't got the sauce, then you lost. But he got all the sauce. That is no joke.
Well, let's hope that he doesn't get lost in the sauce of the success that could be coming with these championships. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that was great for the local legend segment. That's probably honestly going to be one of our favorite segments. We love talking about the local heroes from back in the day that we watched and that we got waxed by every single weekend. And yeah, Josh Thomas and Dawson Cobb, old, new, doesn't matter, still local legend. If you have a local legend in mind, make sure to contact us over at imperativemx@gmail.com. And in the subject line, put local legend segment and give us a description on the rider and why we should pick them on next week's episode. And if it's good enough, you may be featured here on the Imperative MX podcast local legends segment. So, yeah, Heavy D, I mean, there's been a lot of local legends in the area, and it's cool to have both of these riders on.
Oh, 100%. I think it's sick. Josh Thomas, Joshy, and Dawson Cobb, Double D.
Yep, absolutely. And I have to speak on Josh. He got PulpMX credentials. Randy Richardson, who is I believe that he is a sales rep or just a really big person, a part of Michelin bicycle tires, Michelin Starcross 6s, that sort of thing. Mentioned Josh Thomas and Moto Memes on the PulpMX show, and if you are, you know the moto scene, you know PulpMX, you know how many people listen to that podcast, so it's very cool to hear a local legend, Josh Thomas himself, get publicity like he did on the PulpMX show, so have to give a huge shout out to Randy Richardson over there at Michelin for doing that, and, Steve, for, allowing to talk about it. That's very cool and very kind of both of them, so, but FXR, speaking of local legend, myself, I'm in FXR. There's so many FXR athletes that are there at a local level. Heavy D, I'm sure you've seen a lot at Cathy Creek this past weekend.
Oh, dude, let me tell you, it's FXR everywhere. But I must say, I got to say this. My little buddy, Colton Toms, has the drippiest FXR setup there is.
Lit kit? He's got lit kit?
Dude, lit kit beyond measure.
What? How old is this kid here?
12 years old.
And he's dripping like that, Heavy D?
Dude, the drip is not compared. It is unreal. You think my guy is rolling up to a Supercross main event about to go put it on the top step of the box.
Yeah, he's walking out like Club MX. You got Marchbanks, you got Jace Owen, you got Grant Harlan, you got Phil Nicoletti. You got, you got Brandon Shore. You got, Brandon Hawes, the owner of Club MX. I mean, FXR is becoming everywhere, from high-performance snow gear wear to motocross wear. FXR has you covered. The continuing growth of FXR means more selection for you. Snow jackets, regular, winter jackets for personal things, walking out there in the snow where it's getting colder. It's for me, Heavy D, I go to my real job at 3-4 o'clock in the morning and start dealing with the railroad a little bit, and let me tell you what, I'm gonna have to get a FXR windbreaker of some sort, because these 40-degree weathers in the morning on top of these rail cars is not fun. So I will definitely have to get a jacket from FXR. Jerseys, pants, gloves, snow gear. FXR has you covered in all aspects. So make sure to go check them out, because they are the best in sizing, fitting, and venting, in my opinion, especially during the hot motos that you're doing and you want as much ventilation as possible. There is so many lines that FXR has as far as gear goes that is absolutely perfect for any rider. So make sure to go and check out fxrracing.com. Find them on social media as well. And thanks to their continuing support for my personal racing, along with this Imperative MX podcast. So next, we're gonna get into a little bit of Lake Sugar Tree Halloween Bash. Heavy D, what you know about Ryan Smith up there at Lake Sugar Tree and the Lake Sugar Tree Halloween Bash?
Oh man, Ryan Smith is one of my good buddies, and dude, I can't tell you how killer of a job like him and his crew is doing over there. Like he, dude, the Halloween Bash is unreal. Like it's it's crazy that a local event like that, and dude, I'm glad that's why we're doing this podcast because I wanted to like shine light. Like let's get local racing that big every weekend. Like
Yep.
that's what will help elevate the sport because dude, the amount of riders and spectators and families and all that he has there is unreal. Like
Absolutely.
it was packed last year. I don't think you could park anywhere last year. It was so packed I couldn't even walk through the gate.
Oh, I was there, and we had to park all the way in the very bottom in the woods. Heavy D, we had to park in the woods, damn near, because there were so many people there, and it's awesome to see. And it seems like the sport has grown, so there is a little bit more local involvement and local racing going on, especially with different tracks, different series, different promoters. There's so much local motocross that is going on, and the Lake Sugar Tree Halloween Bash. I have been going. This is the 20th annual Halloween Bash at Lake Sugar Tree in beautiful Axton, Virginia, as Ken Farrell will say, every morning at 6:30 to wake everybody up early from their motorhome. But I have been going for, I'm pretty sure, Heavy D, every single year that they've had the Halloween Bash.
Oh dang! Like yeah, it's been what 20 years, right?
Yeah, it's 20 years this year, and if you think about it, if you think 20 years, right, that's 2002. That was the first year that I started racing was 2002. The first time I ever got on a dirt bike, I was 7 years old, so that's 2001 for me.
Holy cow!
And my mom is, here in Roanoke, and that's where I originally stayed, and my dad was in Sanford. So, Lake Sugar Tree was the closest track to me, and we always went. It didn't matter if they had a local race, the Halloween Bash, whatever, Lake Sugar Tree, we were there. And it's very, very honoring and very humbling to have Imperative MX as a sponsor for this event. We're going to be doing 2 hole shots for the Supercross race on Saturday night. We're going to do a hole shot for the Super Mini class and for the 450A class as well, Heavy D.
Oh, dude, that's what's so sick. You've been there for years, and I think it's beyond badass that like Imperative is going to be a sponsor there because that race has just grown and grown. And Ryan is really like taking it to the next level with that racing. Man, like I feel like that's what helps elevate the sport. You have guys like Ryan who've been around the racing scene forever, who raced, been on the high stage, and now they're back, doing the local motocross scene. And that's what helps it because you have somebody who's been around that long and been on all these different tracks and knows what it takes to put on one heck of a race like what he has every year, which is the Halloween Bash.
Absolutely. The Halloween Bash talk here on the Imperative MX podcast. And yeah, the Halloween Bash is honestly one of my personal favorite events of the year. I love the fall weather. I love Halloween. Ryan and the crew there at Lake Sugar Tree do a phenomenal job with the decorations all the way around the facility, the lights. I mean, it looks like a little Halloween town. It's honestly phenomenal, the amount of work and design and structure that they put into this race. They have costume contests for the little ones. They have pumpkin carving contests. They're going to have pit bike racing. They're going to have the Saturday night Supercross. They're going to have, practice on Saturday. They're going to have racing on Sunday, camping all weekend, trick-or-treating. It's a Halloween away from home, Heavy D, and this one really, really hits home to me that Imperative MX, Ryan Smith, Bab Smith, Gary Bailey, they're all on board with Imperative MX and the Imperative MX podcast that we're on right now. So it's very awesome to see.
Oh, 100%. And I don't think, like I say, it's a bunch of awesome events out there. And I'm not knocking any of them, but like a Halloween bash, like you say, dude, it's like it's going racing and trick or treating at the same time.
Absolutely.
Like you can't beat that.
Yeah,
It's called
absolutely.
basically like a racer treat.
Yeah, it's a different vibe. It truly is. And I know a lot of people, and I know a good amount of people. I know a lot of individuals that knock Lake Sugar Tree because of the way that it used to be back in the day. Now, they didn't rip it very much. It was very dry. It was the same layout from 1976 when DeCoster came over and raced it. It was the same track, same layout, different things, but since Ryan Smith has taken over it the last couple of years, I mean, the parking has gotten better, the facility has gotten better, the track has gotten better. Everything about Lake Sugar Tree has just become better, and it was awesome to be there in July or June. I can't remember, but it was the Moto Vroom Vroom that Moto Playground and Chad Reed put on. So I got to see my favorite rider, Josh Grant, or one of my favorite riders. I got to see Zach Osborne, and I got to see Chad Reed race at Lake Sugar Tree. And if that doesn't tell you anything, then I don't know what does. Lake Sugar Tree is a great track now. And if you have not given it a shot in the last couple of years, please come out to the Halloween Bash. It's honestly going to be phenomenal. And if you've been to Lake Sugar Tree but you've never attended the Halloween Bash, you are missing out.
Oh, hey, Ron Smith will make you a believer. Trust me, I know. That's how I met him.
Yep.
Trust me, he's a convincer. He can convince you. I mean, when I first met the guy, dumb me. This is what I just like when whole shot devices first came out, and I've just now met this dude.
Okay.
And we're over at Garrett's, the old JGR track,
Yep.
and I'm like, "Hey, what's that on your front fender?" And you know what he tells me it is?
What?
A go fast button.
Like nitrous.
I said, "No way, hit it." Let me tell you how convincing he is. He goes out of his way to hit the biggest jump on the track just to do a fender kiss and make it look like he hit that button.
Stop.
and dumbass me, I'm like, oh, he's finna get down. And I fucking believed it. I was like, dude, I need that. And that's the story how I met the great Ryan Smith.
Is from the go fast button.
Go fast. He hits the, and Garrett and Aaron Whitfield and all these other dudes are sitting here laughing their ass off. And I'm like, why are y'all laughing? This dude's ripping. You should be respecting.
Yeah, you should go and get one of these devices and put it on your front fender.
Yeah. And he comes back and says, "You like that, don't you?" I'm like, "Yes, that is sick."
Oh man, that is hilarious. Yeah, no, Ryan's a good dude. I've known him for 20 years. When I first started racing, he was a very, very fast amateur rider at the time, winning all of the races around. And it's very cool for him to be in that position and honestly making the track and facility better. So, like we say, if you have not been there in a couple of years and you're kind of on the edge on, hey, should I go, should I not go, because people say this, people say that, just go. Just like the Suzuki, just try it. There's nothing wrong with you going and trying it. And if you don't like it, then you don't like it. And if you do, great. That's awesome. But at least give it a shot and give it a chance. The guys over at Lake Sugar Tree Halloween Bash at the end of the month, the 30th, that weekend. Make sure that you guys are there, Heavy D.
Oh, absolutely. You guys definitely need to be there. It's an event you don't want to miss out on. I'm telling you, like, you will not be disappointed in the Lake Sugar Tree Halloween Bash. Like, it is as big as it is for a reason, because you have all the amazing sponsors on board that donate, that they're in person. They want to interact. They want to deal with the public. They want to get everybody to try their products, and that's why they're there. That's why the event's so big. And like you say, go support the ones that support us. Go to Lake Sugar Tree, like get that good interaction, have a good time, like have a beer with these other manufacturers or companies that support the moto industry. Like it's the Halloween bash.
Yep.
Go have a bash.
A good one, Heavy D. That was a good one. Yeah, no, but for real, go and check it out if you're around the surrounding area. It's in beautiful Accident, Virginia. That's Lake Sugar Tree Halloween Bash, October 30th or that weekend. So make sure to go and check it out. This is the Imperative MX podcast, episode number 2. We'd like to thank Hydropower. Hydropower is a formulated sports drink built by a sports nutritionist to help get rid of arm pump and increase your endurance so that you can ride safer and faster. I like to be safe sometimes, just like we were talking about earlier. I unfortunately am not safe and things just go out of control. But maybe if I had some hydropower in my system, maybe I would have been able to hit that rut like, 1 second beforehand I started flipping down the hill of Muddy Creek. Yeah, or it could have been from arm pump. I mean, that's what hydropower is there for. They have a brand new flavor out right now. It is Blue Raz, and if you have not checked out Hydropower, go and check out their website. It is honestly very interactive. It's to the point. You can go and read the 4.5 and above 5 star reviews that they have on the website from credited people that have tried hydropower. So if you get a chance, make sure to go to www.drinkhydropower.com to order your Blue Raz flavor today. So moving into the next topic, we have 3 big weekends of racing in a row coming up, Heavy D. We got the Verb Classic at Next Level 101 coming up this weekend. Then, the following weekend, we have the 20th annual Halloween Bash. That is 2 weekends away. Then we have the Silver Valley AB All-Star Shootout, $20,000 at Silver Valley. Man, we have a lot of racing to do in the next 3 weekends, and it is going to be jam-packed, a lot of competition, a lot of fun, a lot of talking. It's gonna be good, Heavy D.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be insane. Just because, like, man, 3 big races like this back to back, like the competition level, like it is. Local racing right now is I want to say it's at an all-time high. Like it needs to be how it is right now. Like these races, like, and these are big races. Just imagine if the regular local races were as big as these. Then we'll be talking about them. Like we're going to be talking about them all the time. But North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, like Georgia, like this area, the local part of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia, it will be the place to be. And right now, it is the place to be because, like you say, 3 big races like this back to back, and it's actually, I think it's been 5. It'll be a total of 5. So like October, the month of October is just booming right now with big races.
Yeah, it is absolutely jam-packed right now if you are in the local motocross community, and that's what we love, and that's what we're here for, and that's what we're here to give you information about. So, like we said, the Verb Classic at Next Level 101, Miss Jessica Patterson down there, Heavy D,
Yeah.
you know that she's going to make that track rough. You know it.
Boss Lady is no joke. Boss Lady, her and Steady Eddie, they're gonna have it right. They're gonna have it top notch and ready for you guys to be there. And the reason they do, like I'm gonna say it like this: if Cooper Webb can come out and race a local race, and I don't mean just come show his face and make a little appearance. I mean come out. You're 2-time Supercross champion. Come out to a local race and race 3 classes and put in work in all 3 classes. So can you. So come on out to the Verb Classic and get down with the big dogs.
Absolutely. That is the Verb Moto Classic at Next Level 101. Gray Court, South Carolina, coming up this weekend. And then the following weekend, which is 2 weekends away, that is the Lake Sugar Tree Halloween Bash, 20th annual in beautiful Axton, Virginia. We've talked enough about Lake Sugar Tree, so we do not need to focus on that topic much anymore. But we do have Silver Valley, and tomorrow I will be talking to Camille, the owner's wife, fiance, I believe.
Owner's son's girlfriend. There you go.
There you go. So, but that is there is a lot that we are going to be talking about. So in next week's episode, we are going to have probably a good 10 to 15 minutes to go through everything that's going to be happening at the Silver Valley MX Park. Heavy D, why don't you give the fans here a little bit about what you know for the event coming up the weekend of November 3rd through the 5th.
So, yeah, I mean, a pit bike. You always got to do a pit bike race. I mean, got to do the pit bike race. But best whip competition, let me tell you. See,
let's hear it.
This is where like they Thad and Camille and Chase, the whole family over there, they put a whole new outlook to it on putting on an event like this. When you do a best whip competition, you see them do a best whip off of one jump. But his imaginations went so past far that best whip is going to be judged off of 2 jumps, and I mean back to back.
Back to back, 2 jumps, best whip contest?
2 jumps, best whip contest.
Huh.
Think about that.
Yeah,
so,
and I know that you make booters, Heavy D, and I know the guys at Silver Valley, I know from my previous experience being there, that track is no joke, and I know that these jumps for the whip contest is going to send you pretty high. So there is a lot of, good time in the air for some oppos, some scrubs, some whips, a little, fender slap for the fans. There's a lot, Heavy D.
Oh, dude. That's why I call it Big Thad's country, because he thinks like everybody has a level or a thought process of how they want to do moto. And I don't knock anybody how they want to do it, how they want to run their track, how they want to build their track, or their vision on a track. Everybody has that, like I say, everybody has their own personal preference and vision of a track.
Yep.
Mine, I see big because that's what I was around.
Right.
I see big. There's nothing wrong with building a safe track, wanting to slow it down, wanting to build it for a beginner. I'm not knocking any of that. That's just not my style.
Right.
Silver Valley is my style. And that's how Thad looks. He tries to do something different. He wants to see it elevate. He thinks big.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
and that's what he builds.
Yeah, and I mean, from the amount of times that I've been there, every time I go, there's a bigger jump somewhere on the track. And, safe big jumps, right? But the track, Heavy D, the dirt, the prep that goes into this place, if you want to go to a local pro national and your legs want to be on fire for the next 3 days, and you want good ruts, you want a rough, rutted, big jump track, then you need to come out to Silver Valley, and that includes UB riders as well. There's $20,000 up for UB riders as well. You're having to go up against the A riders, but hey, they pay per moto. It's $1,700 for first place just in one moto. So $1,750 for one moto. One moto. And it's 20 minutes plus 1 lap or 20 minutes plus 2 laps. It's over the 20-minute mark, so of course you're going to get, if you get a bad start, you have plenty of time to work your way up through the pack, to show your speed, and Imperative MX is glad to be a sponsor of this event for the 2nd annual Silver Valley MX Park AB All-Star $20,000 shootout. Heavy D. It's going to be awesome, and that's 3 weekends away, and it's crazy.
Oh, it's gonna be insane. Like I say, if if you're a pro guy or you're a B guy, any of them, if you're local, you want to come mixed up with these dudes. If you're on that next level and about to go to A, and you want to get that feeling of what it's like to be on the outdoor national track and not not only trying to, but just to survive. When you know you're in survival mode, that's how you know you're on a true outdoor national track. And that's what Silver Valley is. 2 minute and 30 seconds of excitement and hell at the same time in a fantastic way.
Absolutely, and that's what Silver Valley MX Park wants to bring each and every rider. They want to bring a very technical, very rutted, and a very fun track for everybody to enjoy. So, yeah, that's 3 weekends away. It's going to be great. We just finished up what's going to be happening in the next 3 weekends as far as big racing goes here on the Imperative MX podcast. And West Virginia Motorsports, we're so glad that they have been on board. If you are looking for your next ride, look no further than my friends over at West Virginia Motorsports. That's where I just bought my RMZ 450. If you are around the surrounding area and looking for a new or pre-owned motorcycle, dirt bike, ATV, or side-by-side, make sure to stop by West Virginia Motorsports in Princeton, West Virginia. Don't forget to order your parts for your current bike through West Virginia Motorsports or alongside walking out the door with that new ride. Don't forget your filters, Heavy D. Don't forget your oil filters and your air filters.
You don't want to suck no dirt and lock her down.
No, sir. No, sir. Especially on a brand new ride. We do not want that. So, another big topic is some other motocross events that are going on this weekend that are on a lower scale, or maybe not as big as Next Level 101 that's coming up this weekend. Before we start, if you are a track owner listening to the Imperative MX podcast here, and you would like to reach out for a promotion for your race, please contact us at imperativemx@gmail.com or hit up any of our social medias and message us. We would love to promote your track for all of the racers that listen, or parents or people in the industry if they're looking for what race they needed to go towards or go to for their company here on the Imperative MX podcast. So like we said, if you're a track owner, promoter, or someone that is close that wants to promote an event, make sure you reach out to us, imperativemx@gmail.com. So other races going on this weekend, we have the North Carolina Motocross Association, the NCMA, Round 15 at NCMP, and this weekend's racing is also Fly Racing's Ride Day 2022, featuring Damon Bradshaw, Heavy D.
The beast from the east.
Yeah, this weekend, Saturday, organized practice and racing Sunday, with a lot going on throughout each day this weekend with the folks at Fly Racing. And that's in Henderson, North Carolina Motocross Association at NCMP Round 15. So make sure you guys go and check it out. I've been to NCMP a lot. Heavy D, if you did not know, and the listeners here probably do not know as well, when NCMP first opened up their doors and first had their race, your host here, Zach Newberry, was on the line.
He was NCMP the very first race?
Yes, sir. Very first race at North Carolina Motorsports Park. I was on an 80, and I don't remember how I did. I just remember being there for the very first NCMP race.
Dude, and I tell you, Mark and Jill Chaz, dude, they kill it over there. They've put in so much work at NCMP, and it shows. Like when they get their game face on and that track's on point, it's on point. And
absolutely,
that's every time they open those doors.
Absolutely, and Mike Farr, who owns and who created the North Carolina Motocross Association, has done a fantastic job with the NCMA series that has been going on this year, from a lot of the local tracks, Silver Valley, NCMP, and many, many others. So make sure you go and check out their website or check them out on social media. That's North Carolina Motocross Association to find the schedule and to see what's going on around for your local motocross events. Another race that's going on this weekend, it is a Outlaw Series. It is Top Gun MX Outlaw Series. That's round 17 of the Carolina Outlaw Series. Saturday organized practice and racing Sunday. So that is a 2-day event, and that is in Iron Station, North Carolina. And Top Gun had a 2-time Supercross champion race there not too long ago, huh, Heavy D?
Oh, dude, absolutely. And man, the Doyles, they do an awesome job with Top Gun. Like I think it switched hands a few times, but like they brought it a long ways, especially since back in the day. And when it was like right there at Al Lane, when it was the Al Lanes, Top Gun MX Park. But they've been putting a ton of work, and that actually the series that's there is one of our series races. So we definitely want to see you guys go out and support the Carolina Outlaw Series and over at Top Gun and the Doyles. They're awesome folks, great people, and I tell you, you're not going to find any better people. So go support them. Go support the Outlaw Series. Go out there, have some fun. Like I say, all these local races we're shouting out are all awesome races. We want to see people at all these local races. Let's build this stuff back up. Let's get people out there. So come on, let's get out there and do it.
Absolutely. There's so much racing that's going on. I mean, just pick your poison on which track you want to go to, and I guarantee there's practice or racing going on. And that's what we're talking about here on the Imperative MX podcast, episode number 2. Moving right along into the final race that I know of and have searched. East Bend MX, that is they're having a race on Saturday night. It is their 8th annual cancer awareness race and round number 5 of the Carolina MX Championship Fall Series. That is East Bend, North Carolina, East Bend Motocross Park for their 8th annual cancer awareness race. Heavy D, we've been doing a lot of racing and practicing at East Bend.
Dude, so many laps have been pounded out at East Bend. I cannot tell you how many laps have been pounded out at East Bend. Like,
a lot.
So many. Even Jordan Smith has pounded out laps there. Kyle Peters has pounded out laps there. You've pounded out laps there. Like,
Cooper Webb,
dude,
Jacob
Cooper
Hayes.
Webb.
I mean, there's Jim Neese, Luke Neese.
Yes.
I mean,
Neese.
Everybody has been to East Bend and has put in a good amount of laps there for sure.
Dude, every local legend around has been to East Bend.
Absolutely. I guarantee that Josh Thomas has been to East Bend quite a bit, I'm sure, of it in his earlier part of his racing career, I'm sure. But moving right along, we are going to get into some professional talk, maybe not enough of the local talk, because we could talk about that forever, it seems like. But let's get into some professional talk. But before we do that, we got to give another shout out to FXR, from high performance snow rider wear to motocross wear. FXR has you covered. The continuing growth of FXR means more selection for you. Jackets, jerseys, pants, gloves, snow gear, whatever you need, FXR has you covered. Go check out the best in sizing, fitting, and venting, in my opinion, for motocross riding wear. And, like you said about your little buddy, Lit Kit, Drippy, they have some of the best gear as far as, fitting-wise, ventilation, Club MX, there's so many riders nowadays, and there's so many FXR kits that are on the line, even at these local races. It's unbelievable.
Dude, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. FXR stuff's so sick. It's really, I'm past the point of consideration of losing weight just to get back in motocross gear. That's how sick their stuff is. It
is so lit and so drippy that Heavy D wants to lose a little bit of weight so he can be in some FXR riding gear. So make sure to go to fxrracing.com and find them on social media as well. Thanks for their continuing support, and maybe, they might help out Heavy D if he loses a couple pounds,
Hey. Planet Fitness, here I come.
That $10 deal. You can't go wrong with the $10 Planet Fitness, Kevin Wyndham backed Planet Fitness. For sure. For
I
sure. I don't
might
know.
even get the gold membership just to get the tanning bed.
There you go. There you go. Might even get like a little sauna action going on.
Yes, sir. That
Uh,
sauna get a little sweat so I can slide off in that gear real smooth like.
get you that nice warm towel after you just sweated, and to get all the nice stuff out of your face, the pores and the sweat and all that good stuff. It's oh man. So straight rhythm talk. We already talked a little bit on Josh Thomas since he is a local and he was at that race, so we can kind of skip over him. Ken Roxon. It's very weird seeing him on a different bike other than a Honda. It was very weird. The Bob Hanna look was absolutely phenomenal in my opinion. Marvin ends up taking the win over Ken Roxon. In the final, it started raining there in the bit, and Roxon couldn't figure out the starts. But he gave Musquin a run for his money, but Musquin is now I think he's the official king. We got to see Jesus pretty much ride straight rhythm.
He's the king of straight rhythm.
It's unbelievable. I mean, the way that he goes through these transitions, stays so low, uses his body, uses his lower body to soak up the motorcycle. And even though Ken Roxon was throwing the 3-foot, off the tabletop, scrubs that he was doing, that five bike lengths didn't help him get the win over Marvin Musquin. That's how good Marvin is in this race.
Oh, dude, Marvin is like, dude, his body English when it comes to Supercross is second to none. And I think that's why he's so good and built for straight rhythm. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not firing any shots at Marvin, but he's known to make a lot of mistakes in Supercross. That's why he comes up a bit short a lot.
Yep.
And mainly to do because of, like, I think corner stuff as well. And the little bit of mishaps. But, like, straight rhythm is his style, dude. Like, if you watch him watch him close, like Supercross, especially outside of corners, is all about quickness. How quick you can get through those sections, get to the ground, like hit your marks on your step on, step offs, get down in the bike and get those transitions and angles right. And man, like, dude, he does that so phenomenally well.
Yeah.
Like, it's unreal. Like, if you see him in slow-mo, just go scrub a step on, step off, soak it up, transition his body back, get down in the bike, on the throttle to get the drive on and off the tables for step on, step offs. It's just like, that's why he's so remarkable in straight rhythm. And I think that's why he's undefeated as well.
Yeah, he has not lost a run, and he has not lost a title at these Red Bull straight rhythms. So we had Marvin on top beating Ken Roxon, who got second, and Justin Barcia rounded out the podium spot. Barcia had a very nice kit on with the gas two-stroke. Bike sounded extremely well with his over-revness that he does. The fans loved it, and so did the TV sound. Blew my speakers out, but that's okay. It's two-strokes. That's what it's all about. I wish I could, there's like, I wish there could be a button on my TV where I could just press it and it blows out the air that's going on there so that I could actually hear and smell the two strokes. That would be cool. Hopefully, some of these bigger companies kind of step it up on their game and come out with that sometime. That would be extremely, extremely awesome. But in the 125cc class, you had Carson Brown taking it over Josh Varese and also Derek Kelly rounding out the podium. What did you think about, real quick, what did you think about the layout at Huntington Beach, California? Because they were in Pomona, Utah. They were at the drag strip for a couple of years, and then they moved it to the horse arena area. And now they have moved out of Utah and went all the way to Huntington Beach, California. Ocean in the background, city to the left. I mean, it was cool. What did you think about that, Heavy D?
I thought it was sick. Like, I feel, and this is my personal opinion, it may not happen. because of so many races and how thin the riders are having to spread themselves. But I feel like they're they would have to turn Red Bull Straight Rhythm into a series.
Yeah.
Just
It
I feel like that.
Yeah, and you know what's sad too is that I finished out the PulpMX podcast today, and Hammer, who is the guy that does all of these Red Bull straight rhythms for Red Bull and puts it all together. I believe his real name is Jason, but I just know him as Hammer.
Mm-hmm.
He was stating that there may not be a Red Bull straight rhythm next year because of the late season races that they're going to have for the SMX next year for those 3 playoff rounds. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they do not think that it will. It may not happen next year. Um,
Man, that's and I hate that, man, because it's like, dude, if you watched, dude, everybody was on their feet, like a jumping drag race.
yeah,
Like it's so much excitement. Don't get it. May be only 40 seconds, but God, it's some of the most thrilling 40 seconds of racing you will see. Like even like guys like Josh Hansen coming back out. Like and by the way, he was ripping like coming out the gate. How he was ripping those rollers and not quadding like the rest of them.
I thought he was gonna win
Dude,
after I saw that first run. I'm like, dude, this dude is winning today.
dude,
And then and
I'm
then
like,
and then I saw Kenny and I saw Rox and Kenny and Marvin. I was like, but
but
yeah,
honestly, I feel like how they and the reason I say they would turn it into a series because I feel like that's why they've jumped from location to location to see how the different locations would do. Even though it's been once a year, or once a year, they've always like the locations have done awesome. Hunting on the beach, that's sick. You
yeah,
look over and you can see like a shark eating or a whale eating a shark, like while you're racing, like something dumb like that. I don't know,
right,
but
right,
still, it's
right.
bad.
Right. Yeah, no, it was cool. I hope that that is not true, and I hope that they find some way to make it next year. Because I believe that this needs to be like in the downtown, like a Chicago or LA or even Charlotte or Nashville or somewhere like that. I believe that they can make it happen. They'll probably have to jump through some hoops and fire marshal and all of that good stuff. But I'm sure the guys over at Red Bull, I'm sure that they have enough money and they have enough power to pretty much make anything possible if they really want to do it. So, yeah, I hope that something comes out. But regardless of the fact, it was 2 strokes. Awesome kits. AP had a phenomenal kit from his, I believe the bike was a replica of his dad from the GNCC
Mm-hmm.
series. And his actual gear, it reminded me of Woody off of Toy Story, but I believe that there was a second, um, I guess, version of what that gear actually was. Do you know what that was, Heavy D?
Who was that? Plessingers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a replica of his dad's gear
Okay,
almost from.
so it's the whole his dad thing then.
Yeah.
Okay, because I thought it was the bike that was his dad, and then the gear was something else. But maybe I heard that from a wrong source. So, yeah, no, it's cool to give a late tribute to his dad. His dad was a GNCC winner. I believe that he won a couple titles, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know the GNCC level or talk that much, but I believe that his dad was a very successful GNCC racer, and it was cool to see him do a kit for that. Barsh's kit was good. In my opinion, I really liked the Josh Hansen, the fall, the dark, like the fall theme, real dark, the teal, the purple, the black. I mean, it just looked really good, and it fit Hansen. Hansen is like I wouldn't say uh, like a emo dude, but he's more of that dark, that like I don't even know really how I'm trying to explain it. Like I could just see him in dark themed gear. That's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying. He's just that type of rider that you would expect to have the dark themed gear and nothing flashy, nothing like really really bright colors. Right? He's more of that dark themed guy, and I felt like the Husqvarna team, Rockstar, Fox, they did a phenomenal job with Hanson's gear. I mean, that stuff looked sick.
Oh, dude, they killed it. Like,
Absolutely.
without a doubt.
Absolutely. And yeah, no, so it was, two strokes, cool kits on the beach. You can't really get it any better. So that's the straight rhythm talk and some professional talk moving forward here on the Imperative MX podcast, episode number 2. WSX finale is this weekend. The local legend Shane McElrath. I believe we can call him a local legend, even though that he's not done with his career. He's from the North Carolina area, and yeah, we can call him a local legend. He is currently winning the very short piloted season of this brand new WSX World Supercross Championship Series on the Rick Ware Racing team. Yeah, do you believe that Shane will get it done in the 250 class starting off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So hold on a minute. So wait a minute. I thought it was more than 2 rounds for the WSX.
Just for this year, it's a piloted season, and they're only doing 2 races. This Australian one is the last one this weekend.
Oh, so they cut it down to 2.
Yes, and next year apparently it was supposed to be 10, but they've apparently cut it down to 8. So I I don't know. I mean I don't know. It's another racing series. It's cool. I'm glad that the riders are getting paid. More teams are getting paid, right? Like it's almost like a thing I have to kind of wait and see. Like for next year, for an entire series, I want to see kind of like where they go for the different countries. I want to see if they bring any other wild cards into play. If, the Ken Roxon situation, is he going to be the face of WSX next year, since it doesn't look like right now, as far as rumblings going on, that he has anything lined up for here in America? Is he going to be the face of World Supercross next year? There's so much ifs, and I guess what's going to happen with this series, and is it going to change I don't think it's going to change America and what we do here in the States. But we do have to give Adam Bailey a pat on the back, because I believe that if he didn't throw up and he didn't have the money, for the $50 million from these investors, I do not believe the United States, as far as the racing goes, with the 2 racing promoters, Feld Entertainment for Supercross and MX Sports for the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, have now combined and put up this $10 million purse. And I do not believe that would have happened if Adam Bailey and that whole SX Global team did not put up that much money for these teams and riders.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. You're 100% right. Like and that needed to happen. Like, I mean, it's so much risk and not near enough reward for what these guys do to their bodies and even minds to go out here and race dirt bikes week in and week out.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely different than your average ball sport, for sure. But yeah, I really hope Shane gets a win this weekend. He is a couple points over Chris Bloss, and I honestly, Heavy D, I cannot remember who is in third. I'm not going to lie. I do not know. I just know that the local legend himself, Shane McElrath, is out front, so that is the person that I will be rooting for in the 250 class, because I want him to bring a title home. He's been so close in the AMA Supercross season. That what a turnaround season. He's ridden 4 manufacturers this year. He's running it. He's ran a Club MX Yamaha. He's run a Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, and he's rode a KTM for the
Rocky.
Yep, for the Rocky Mount.
Well,
and
yeah,
he ran
Butler Brothers, right?
Yeah, yep. We have no idea what's going on with that's a whole nother. Where's Blake Baggett? Anyways,
Mitchell Oldenburg's in third. My bad. Mitchell Oldenburg's in third.
Oldenburg. Okay. So yeah. Oldenburg could maybe be the only person that I could see that could beat. I don't know if Bloss is going to beat Shane straight up, but I could see Oldenburg beating Shane, because Shane has been so used to a 450. I can see the little hard transition maybe to the 250, and their specs over there is way different than us here in the United States for AMA Supercross. So regardless of the fact, I hope that Shane McElrath gets this dub and brings it home. That would be really cool to see. And obviously, Ken Roczen is, Eli Tomac really is in the points lead. But since he's was only a wild card in that first race that they had a couple weekends ago at Cardiff. Roczen's out front. Vince Freeze is second. And do you know who's third?
I'm pretty sure. God, I want to say it's Vince Freeze, right?
I thought Freeze was second. I think I think
Oh,
I
oh,
think Vince is second, and I can't remember who's third.
is it? Oh, so it's not Tomac, Kenny, Vince.
No, because Tomac was only a wild card. He's not coming to do the second one, so they throw his points out because he was just a wild card. His points didn't matter.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh,
Yep.
dang, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
Yeah. So the wild card's points, I guess, are not being thrown into the conversation because everything I've seen, they put out a head-to-head. The WSX social media team, they put out a head-to-head with Ken Roczen on one side and Vince Freeze, and they showed the points underneath, and it was pretty close. So, and we know that Heavy D is a huge supporter of Vince Freeze for his not aggressiveness on the track, but his determination to go out there and win, and he'll do anything possible to do that. Now, sometimes it may not be the smartest thing, but you have to give him credit where credit's due. He's trying his nuts off. So you have to give him credit where credit is due. Moving into the final topic of tonight's Imperative MX podcast, episode number 2. If you have made it this far, we greatly appreciate you and sticking around for this podcast. And Silver Valley, we have to give it up to Silver Valley once again for being on board with this PulpMX, or I'm sorry, not PulpMX. Holy cow, the Imperative MX podcast. I listened to Steve Mathis probably too much, but regardless of the fact, the PulpMX show, Silver Valley MX, huge race going on. November 3rd through the 5th. So make sure that you guys are there and supporting Silver Valley MX Park. Next week, we will have a full, pretty much topic of everything that will be going on at that event. So make sure you guys come back next week and stay tuned for the talk about Silver Valley MX Park. But we have to give a huge shout out to them for being on board. We greatly appreciate it. So the last thing that we are going to get into, Heavy D, is we're going to answer some Imperative MX social questions. These are questions that are submitted via our social media, where a day or two in advance we will post up a photo of the talking points from the week's episode, and then we go back through the post that people comment on, and we pick some of the questions and read them here on the Imperative MX podcast. So first one is going to be from me, Heavy D, because I have a question for you. When was your last gate drop?
Oh my gosh. Oh shit.
Yeah, come on. We want to hear this one. I know everybody wants to hear this.
Oh man. Golly. Once again, what are we in? 2022. 2011 Birch Creek. That was, yes, the reason it was 2011 Birch Creek, and that was, I'm pretty sure, when I ran B, and I said, this is not for me.
That was the first race, B class, and you said, yep, nope, this ain't for me. Time to hang the boots up.
Yeah, the reason I ran B was because, so that year, you remember, you know Dylan Easton, don't you know Dylan Easton?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so that year, golly, it was me and him, Carson Tick, dude, we went at it like a lot, but Carson didn't like end up trying to do the D29 series. He raced a lot of it, but he wasn't in it for like the championship.
Points.
But
right.
Yeah, but me and Dylan were, because we went at it like all year that year, like qualifiers,
like magnets to each other, just finding each other on the racetrack, trying to get the win.
Never ended. I'm talking about, like, I'm pretty sure his life goal was to work, like just destroy me. Like, because my guy got quick fast that year.
He was grinding hard in them backwoods.
Oh, dude, like I'm telling you, like he was grinding, and it was crazy. So it came down. It would have come down to Birch Creek. I would have never ran that race in B if it wasn't for like what happened like the 2 weeks prior, because he got hurt when we was racing. It used to be Palmetto, then it changed hands several times.
Okay.
But we were racing there, and like it was a double header. So they had Supercross Saturday night, and we ran outdoor stuff Sunday. And he worked me Saturday in Supercross. Like, dude, he fucking obliterated me.
Yep.
Excuse my French, but like we got
he
on
worked
outdoor.
you. He worked you.
He worked me. Like oh dude, he stirred, like he put my shit in a blender. I'm not gonna lie to you. And but outdoors, like it was a bit of a difference. I was a lot closer in outdoors. He wasn't working me like that in outdoors, but it was close enough to like, well, no, I ain't gonna see. We were actually battling, but he got a bit of a lead on me, but he was killing me through the rollers. Like they had a long section of rollers, and usually rollers was my thing, but this particular weekend, like he was scooting, he was doing an unridiculous like rhythm through the rollers. He was going like triple quad or something stupid like that. It was something retarded.
Right.
And I was like, you got that. Like, I ain't about to obliterate myself on this 450
Absolutely.
to try that. Like,
yeah.
And it got like, he ended up crashing him in like the quad. Like he tripled and he went quad.
Yeah.
And something went wrong. I didn't see it because like I was just coming out of the corner when he was going for that. And next thing I know, he was like mangled up and he broke his shoulder. It jacked him up pretty good. But anyway, I did that, and then I went and raced B, and I was like, no, you got it, y'all can have it.
Heavy D is the co-host here on Imperative MX, and he is your 2011 District 29 C-Class champion.
Yes, sir. This is me.
And as soon as he went to B-Class, he hung the boots up. Unfortunate. But
it's no need to go that fast, dude. Like, what do you get out of going that fast,
dude? When I got to B-Class, I said, "How the hell can I get faster?"
I mean, what are you gaining going that fast? Think about it. Like, that's a first class trip to the hospital. Like, I wasn't trying to be laid up with everybody else.
Yeah, I thought I could make a career, professional racing in this Heavy D. And yeah, B-Class Loretta's first year I went, got 36, absolutely smoked. My tongue, I believe, is still in the spokes from 2010 or 2011, the first year I went to Loretta's. I was so dog tired. I threw up in my helmet every single moto. It was so hot. It was miserable. But once again, even speaking on that topic, you got to go to Silver Valley. I every single time I think of a rough track like Loretta's, and you want good Loretta's prep, you need to go to Silver Valley and get all of the rut practice and big braking bumps and big jumps. And yeah, had to plug in Silver Valley there because that's what it reminds me of, and that's honestly the best practice that you can get. Yeah, sure, you can go to these, tamed down, kind of flat tracks, but that's not going to help you at Loretta's or some of these bigger races that are going to have a lot more bikes on the track, a lot more braking bumps, a lot more acceleration bumps. There's going to be G-outs in the corners. There's going to be G-outs on the faces of jumps. I mean, there's so much that you need to learn and experience, and Silver Valley is the correct place to do that, and I'm so glad that Imperative MX is a sponsor of their event November 3rd through the 5th for their $20,000 AB All-Star race that is coming up pretty soon. So, Heavy D, we got another question for you from William Fleshman. He asked, being that Heavy D is a local legend himself, can we get a comment about why he couldn't ever keep his pants up while riding? Heavy D, you had a problem with your pants?
Let's just say at one time, Heavy D was trying to be Light D. Heavy D was in the gym trying to get these pounds off, and I got down a good bit. But when I was starting to look sexier on that dirt bike, I started to get some swag about me,
There we
and
go.
I tried to let the shirt tail hang like El Chupacabra used to back in the day.
Yep.
And let's just say it bit me in the ass because my ass was out.
Absolutely. Damn it, man. Damn it. So, so Heavy D was trying to be Light D back in the day, and the pants couldn't stay on. It just it wasn't happening. He was trying to have them a little loosey goosey, and sometimes they became really, really loosey goosey. So,
Oh, they became loose all right.
oh
Loose
yeah,
around the bottom of my butt cheeks.
full moon and everything, and I have my own personal story. I had to race Connor Lester, which is a local legend of himself here around the Virginia area. I always had to race him, number 88 on the Honda. He was either always in front of me, behind me, beside me, going through ruts. I mean, we had hell of battles back in the day, and we were at a Lake Sugar Tree area, I do believe, at Action Town when that was still up and running. Up there, I can't remember the actual town that it was in, but it was up there.
Axton, Virginia.
Nah, Axton is Lake Sugar Tree.
Oh shit! Why did I say that?
I don't know. We talked about Lake Sugar Tree earlier. I said Axton a bunch.
We did,
Yeah, no. I mean, for good measures though, you know. So, but regardless of the fact, there was one moto where I was leading. I had Connor right behind me. He was literally on my tail, and sure enough, I had the answer gear. And it had one of those like zip tie where it clicks to keep your pants up instead of like a belt or one of the Velcro things nowadays that most of these companies use now instead of the click type of holding device for your pants. Well, that answer gear decided to give way about lap number 2, and a lap number 4 I had to pull over because the pants were all the way around my knees and I couldn't stand up and I couldn't go through the corners anymore. Yep, so I had to pull over while leading a area qualifier race in front of my biggest competition at the time. So he got a great bird's eye view, and so did the fans and the spectators that were along the fence line. And my dad that was cheering me on. All I saw was just a huge smile on his face while he's trying to cheer me on to beat Connor, and my pants are halfway down. So.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that race. I was there. I remember it.
Yep. And good times for sure. Moving on into some more questions. These are coming from Instagram. And GK Moto Films asks, with Ken Roczen meshing well with the Pro Circuit crew for straight rhythm, do you guys see Mitch taking or making a spot for him on the team like we saw with Brock Tickle in 2012? I know Tickle's situation to finish out his 2-year deal was different circumstances, but I wonder if Ken, being a free agent, could entertain the idea for Mitch to do a one-off 450 program for 2023. Heavy D, the only thing I got to say about this is I don't see him leaving Red Bull. His options are very, very slim.
Yeah, I
can't see those two parties separating. I really can't.
It's got to be something drastically better for him to leave Red Bull.
Absolutely, and this is not a business decision. This is a personal decision from Ken Roczen himself. He's not going to, I mean, dude, Red Bull's been with him since what? He was 12 on a Suzuki back in Germany, having to race the likes of Jeffrey Hurlings and Dylan Ferrandis and, some of these other guys, and I don't see GK. I don't see those two parties separating, so I do not believe that Mitch is going to make a one-off 450 Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki. I just don't see that with Ken Roczen. I see him being the face of WSX 2023 next year. That's what I see. Heavy D?
Yeah, I can agree with that. It's just, man, that's I just, like I say, if I don't see it because Red Bull wants Ken. They want Kenny. Like he's been there too long. He does good stuff, and like if he parts ways with Honda, it's because of something better. But I don't see I can see the firepower deal working. I can see that working because they don't have a big title sponsor like Red Bull, and that's a more of an athlete sponsorship more than a team sponsorship. So I think it like Honda would be fine backing Kenny through the firepower team.
Right.
Only way I see it being a big problem is if Kenny would go win a championship on that firepower Honda. Then Honda would have some questions to answer as to why he's not under that tent still. He's under a proper, like, a second hand, a third party team, basically.
See, but I don't believe they care. I really don't. I mean, Lars Lindstrom, who is the team manager over there for HRC Honda, was on the Pulp MX show as well. And he was talking about the whole situation with Ken Roczen, and the offer was on the table, but his bosses, they do all of these contracts and they make sure that the riders do what they're supposed to. And Ken Roczen and his agent didn't tell them about the WSX series, within a certain amount of time, and then the time came up, so on and so forth. I might have my timeline mixed up, but there was some sort of form of communication that was not, communicated, really, between the two parties, HRC Honda and Ken Roczen, that we're talking about here at the end of the Imperative MX podcast, episode number 2. But yeah, I at the end, to answer your question, GK, me and Heavy don't see him going to any other, energy drink team, Rockstar, Monster, Twisted Tea. It's not going to happen. I don't see it happening unless something majorly happens between him and Red Bull, which I do not see happening, because he had so much fun at the Red Bull Straight Rhythm, and I'm sure that he talked to every single person that is a big person at Red Bull at that event, I'm sure, to talk about what's going on moving forward. So I don't see, there's a lot of talks online that people have seen him with a Cowie, or heard rumblings of him on a Cowie. He's Ken Roczen. He can go and buy whatever he wants and test whatever he wants. Nothing's really stopping him. So at the end of the day, no, we do not believe that he's going to go on to Mitch Payton for a 450 deal for next year. My dad commented on this, MY Newberry. He said, giving the larger payouts coming in Supercross and at recent local events like Muddy Creek and Silver Valley, is the fan attendance and competition increasing? What do you think, Heavy D? Do you believe that the local scene and payouts and that sort of thing, do you believe that it's increasing?
Yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, it is going to go against my previous statement of the last podcast when I was asked if motocross is dying, and I felt like it was. But right now, and especially in our local area, I think it's increasing, and it needs to continue to do that. Like, I know we spoke on Silver Valley a lot and Vermoto. Like, Vermoto is going to be a good weekend. It's going to be solid, a lot of fast guys, but I feel like it'll continue to increase, especially with the likes and the race such as Silver Valley. And with that being said, that's why I feel like a lot of these teams that are getting fresh young riders, that are coming out and they want to see what they got, you need to let them come to this race. Like, put the ego down, put the whole, it's not worth it, not worth getting hurt. Like, no. What sucks is you practice and get hurt in practice because you're not actually out there competing. If you want to see where you are, come compete with the top guys.
Right, and if you're a top, yeah, and even if you're a top guy and you get smoked at a local level, that's more for you to learn. Like exactly. Every single time I got smoked by Bryn East at East Bend, I learned a thing or two about the track. I'd have to ride behind him, but I got to learn his lines. I got to see where he's going on the track and what he's doing. You can learn a thing or two, and that's nothing bad. Like, nobody... Sure, social media nowadays it's sometimes it's full of crap, and most of the time it is full of crap because of the people that comment it, or that comment some just out of this world stuff. But these local guys, I wouldn't care if they showed up to Silver Valley and got worked by the likes of Joey Crown or a Brandon Shaw or somebody like that. Like, hey, they showed up. Not a lot of people do that, and these teams need to stop wrapping these riders up like, in pillows. and packaging paper so that when they fall over, they don't break anything. Well, guess what? I mean, no offense to Colt Nichols, but look at him. He didn't even get to hardly even ride and defend his number one plate because he got hurt the very first heat race. So,
Oh,
you know, and that's the only opportunity that he got to race with his number one plate.
mm-hmm.
And got ruined that fast. So I believe that, Heavy D was talking about, yes, I do believe that the payouts are increasing and there's been more fan attendance, and I believe that there's been more rider attendance just in some of the small races that I've been going to here recently. I mean, there's been so many riders that have been coming out that haven't rode in a really long time that I'm seeing fresh and new faces. So yes, Dad and Mark, I do believe that everything is increasing in the sport, and this is the perfect time to get into the local motocross scene, or even be watching the professionals on TV. Whichever way that you do it, whichever way that you support the sport, is great. So yeah, I believe that everything is on the rise. But yeah, Heavy D, that's pretty much it on episode number 2 of the Imperative MX podcast. We got a lot thrown in, from local talk to professional talk to local legend to Lake Sugartree, Virginia, North Carolina. Man, we have it all around. We have it all around here on the Imperative MX podcast, Heavy D.
Oh, absolutely. I'm loving the discussions. I think people are digging it. They're going to continue to dig it. And hey, I feel like what we're doing is just going to help the local scene. Let's push and thrive to make a local scene like local nationals every weekend.
Yeah, and it would be great for spectators to come out. We need more spectators to come through the gate to watch some of these kids and some of these top local pro riders that will eventually be trying to make Lucas Oil Pro Motocross events or AMA Supercross. So definitely everything is on the rise, and we are so glad to bring it to you here on the Imperative MX podcast. Every single one of these episodes are recorded in advance and then will be edited and will be coming out every Thursday afternoon. So make sure that you guys follow us on social so that you stay up to date. Go and check out the YouTube, watch the videos, watch the first episode along. If you've made it this far, that is phenomenal. We greatly appreciate it. We want to thank all of the sponsors that are on board. West Virginia Motorsports, if you need a new ride, ATV, dirt bike, side-by-side, motorcycle, go to Princeton, West Virginia Motorsports. They have your back just like they do mine with my purchase of the 2023 RMZ 450. Lit Kit game, FXR, Heavy D. FXR, killing it.
FXR.
Killing
it, son.
Killing the game. 12-year-old has got the drippiest style or drippiest kit with the FXR. It looks like he is on a pro national level, even at a local event. So make sure to go to fxrracing.com or find it at your local dealership. Also, got to give a huge shout out to Silver Valley MX Park. We talk a lot about them, and they have come on board within this podcast so that we can promote their racing November 3rd through the 5th. Huge payout, A and B riders. We want all of them. Every single one of you riders, every spectator that's watching, listening, whatever the case may be, make sure to go to Silver Valley MX Park. And finally, we have Hydropower arm pump. You need to get Hydropower. If you have arm pump, if you have trouble with endurance, Hydropower is there to help you. Formulated by a sports nutritionist himself, Garrett will make sure that your order is successfully placed into your doorstep with a reasonable amount of time. I would have already tried Hydropower, but me and UPS are going to be, I think we might have a fight. One of their employees decided to just throw the Hydropower against a brick wall, not once, but I think 56 times. And so, yeah, there will be a claim that will be processed for my hydropower that came in and got absolutely demolished. So, or I'd be able to give a little bit more details on them. But you can look at the 5-star reviews online, Heavy D, and the numbers don't lie in the comments and the reviews online. They don't mess around. So, and it's absolutely true. Everything, you can read all of the reviews on their interactive website. That's drinkhydropower.com. Well, that's the end of it, Heavy D. I appreciate you sticking around and made good time on this one. Talked about local stuff, local legend. I mean, we had a jam-packed episode, and we are so glad that everybody came on board. Heavy D, thank you so much for coming on this podcast and being a part of the Imperative MX podcast.
You know it. I appreciate you having me.
Yep. Your host, Zach Newberry, co-host TJ Gillespie, a.k.a. Heavy D. We out, guys. See you next week.
See you guys.